Good rising, family. Give everyone a chance to kind of come in. Give the family a chance to get notified and get a chance to kind of come in. Throat's been kind of bothering me, so I got to drink some water here. Shalom, shalom. Good seeing you there, Sister Lisa. Sister Nancy, good seeing you. It's been a minute since we've done a live, I know. This live is really for a lot of us to have an opportunity to kind of come together and talk about some of the things that are going on, you know, through all the news and all these events these last few days. Also talk about some of the videos, the information Most guys had me bring out here recently. Kind of see how all that fits together. Yes, there is so much going on. Good seeing you, Sister Didiya. And my throat's been bothering me a little bit, so we'll see how long it holds up today. The Super Bowl is going to reveal what's up with these sightings. Well, we'll see. Think we already know what's going on. We're going to be transitioning from the time of fishermen, to the time of hunters. You know, good seeing everyone here because then give everybody a chance, kind of come in, get notified, take our time. Well, they're not calling them balloons. They're saying UFOs. I had shared a video earlier in the community section that has some really good information. I would suggest you look, at that one as well. So yeah, some of the things he was talking about was talking about how like these ships or whatever UFOs keep showing up, and they're showing up like in certain airspaces, but they're not coming. Like if they show up in Alaska, they're not showing up in any other airspaces before that. They just seem to be popping up in certain airspaces. You know, so it's like if they were coming from, say, Russia, you would be able to see them coming and then popping up over, you know, over Canada, over Alaska. They're just popping up all over the place. Yeah, possibly, through portals and things like that. But we understand, remember how the Most High has blessed us with this knowledge a few months ago about the openings, okay, at the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And how, we're talking about the hollow earth. And the Most High had us looking into that information, correct? And now all of a sudden you're starting to see them talking about all these UFOs. And that information was talking about how these UFOs actually came from the center of the earth. They're coming from inside the earth, you know? And like I said, just so when you start letting them dictate information and understanding, you're always going to be off. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to be off. And now that we've broken away, we can see through many of those lies. We can see through many of the lies and the way that they want to dictate everything. They want us to believe that all of a sudden now they're shooting down all these UFOs. There's all these UFOs that are popping up, and they're all shooting them down left and right. I said, that doesn't even make any sense because they were talking about just they're all talking about how more sophisticated these UFOs are and how they move so fast and how they can't their planes and their equipment can't stand up to them. But they want us to believe that all of a sudden they're closing airspaces and they're taking down these ships left and right. Hey, Ancient Gardeners, great seeing you. Maybe they're popping up and they're engaging with these UFOs. Who knows? But I doubt that it's going the way that they're saying it's going down. You know what I mean? I heard that Canada had the same thing where they came into contact and they shot something down and they just asked the FBI to come and help them go through the wreckage. But we understand that, see, they've been well aware that, and they've been expecting these beings to come from inside of the earth. You remember the book you talked about before, The Coming Race? And I read that book, and at the end, the author was just so depressed because he knew that eventually those people that were inside the earth who were way more advanced than we are here on the surface are going to come up and take over. And now all of a sudden you're starting to see them talking about UFOs. You're starting to see a lot of people talking about Antarctica. Starting to see a lot of people talking about videos talking about bases in Antarctica and and all these things that are underneath the surface. In Florida Marquis video talks about lidar and these huge caverns that are there. So it's all this, and then what is it? The ice wall that's like 2 miles high. That you pretty much have to go like all the way up into the upper atmosphere in order to be able to get and fly on to Antarctica. Like I said, check out that video. There's a lot of really good information there. I said, so I think the Most High has expanded our thinking. We used to think that everything was just in the Bible. Everything was just about religion, you know. But now the Most High has opened us up to so much more science and math, you know, extraterrestrials, um, all these different avenues, all this different subject matter. And then now so that now that when supposedly UFOs are showing up, we don't have to take the Gentile breakdown of what these things are. Definitely astrology, astronomy, astrology. How to use that. What does it mean? What does it really mean? You see what I'm saying? Like all these things that the Most High has opened us up to. And now they've really lost control of the narrative. Maybe if we're blessed enough, we'll realize that the ones that have needed to be awakened have been awakened. That the ones that we needed to fish for, we already caught them. And now we can pray that it's time for the hunters. I'm gonna check that right now. Did a strange world. We know eventually that there's gonna be a huge shift. Yeah, I believe that aliens are showing up because of the conscious shift. I believe that there's a shift between, well, the ones that were meant to get this understanding. The vast majority of the world thinks that this has nothing to do with prophecy. They don't think that any of this stuff has anything to do with prophecy because they're still stuck with Ukraine and Russia, and that's it. How many times have we already heard that Russia has set up a red line and that if America or NATO crosses this red line, that this is going to happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times are we going to fall for that okey doke? How many times are people going to fall for that? There's a lot of people that they're falling for it every day. You know what I'm saying? I says a lot of people are falling for it every day. Because they refuse to think for themselves. So but we know that the Most High said that after the time of the fishers, there's going to be the time of the hunters. And what was crazy was, if you guys have watched Angels and Demons with Tom Hanks, at the beginning of the movie, if you guys remember, the Pope dies, right? And they have to destroy his ring right from jump. And his ring was called the Ring of the Fisherman. And that goes back to astrology. Remember? You see what I'm saying? Like the Pope has a ring of the fisherman, and that goes back to Capricorn. And it was just crazy because I was like listening to it, I was like, the ring of the fisherman. Now think about it. Popes. How have they been fishermen? How have they gone across the world trying to bring people to the Most High? You know what I'm saying? Like all they've done is go around and force people into their belief system. You see what I'm saying? So how is that even possible that he would have some ring that talks about him being the the fisherman? Because those popes, and those religions have not been about um they have not been about fishing for men. They've been about destroying people this whole time. That's what they've been doing this whole time, and that's what they have done all the way up until today. But see, when you have your eyes opened, you can pick up on these things. I've watched that Angels and Demons movie many times. Didn't pick up on that whole ring because we thought about, oh, Ring of the Fisherman, Christianity, everything else. But you start looking at um, Pisces, you start looking at Capricorn, you start looking at how that fits. See, they give you all they do is they've been giving the world exoteric understanding. You know what I'm saying? They've been like that's how it's been this whole time, and they have not been about getting people ready to grow. They have not been about getting people ready for the Most High. I see that Paul went live. That's cool. Good. Yes. And and he's always gonna eventually he's gonna twist that back into white Jesus. You're gonna give it the news, and then it somehow is gonna be twisted back into white Jesus. Because like I said, that's what they always do because there's nothing new. There's nothing new to their teaching whatsoever. You know, but we're gonna see where this goes as far as these UFOs, these objects, and how all that's going. You know, I said there's a whole lot of things that you really think that the Gentiles would be telling us uh, the truth as far as what they're really seeing up there. They have fought for you know hundreds of decades not to talk about anything as far as UFOs is concerned. But all of a sudden this weekend, they're telling us about all these UFOs that they're just popping up and they're shooting them down left and right. 4 of them, 5 of them. I said that doesn't make any sense. So like I said, there's something else that's going on. There's something else, that's happening. They're trying to maybe let the people um, slowly get used to the thought of there being UFOs and other entities and things like that. So it makes no sense, you know, what's going on as far as what they're allowing to come out. Exactly, it's a setup. I can't trust anything that they say or that they're bringing out. Judgment is definitely coming, Queen Mommy. You are correct. I said we've done it. We're doing our job, being the fishers and bringing this information out as best as the Most High allows us to. But eventually, it's going to get to the point where, hey, that job is done, and then the world is going to change. The world is going to change, and if you haven't already seen it, the world has already changed. This world is nothing like when I was growing up, and I'm not that really. I'm really not that old, so I can imagine like how it's been changed for the last 100 years. And they're always talking about how well in 2030 they're going to go and attack China. We're going to be at war with China. You really think we got that long? You really think we got till you hope we have till 2030? I said, but hold on, this country can't even balance their budget. Thank you, Coppertone Queen. All praises to the Most High. So this country can't even balance their budget. You remember how that used to be such a big deal when they could not balance their budget, and they still haven't balanced their budget from what I've heard. They're just doing whatever accounting tricks or whatever they call it now. That's like what we've always done. I ain't paying you yet. I don't got it. I ain't paying you yet. I ain't got that either. When are you gonna get it? Hey, when I get something, I'll put a little something on it. You know what I'm saying? That's what our country is now doing. But they're still giving money to Ukraine, hand over fist. I'm listening to Paul and some of the other preppers, but like I said, Paul does a good job bringing out information, and they were talking about how these NATO countries don't have um, bullets, don't have ammunition, and that if they got into a fight or they got into a war, then they wouldn't have enough ammunition for a day. Wouldn't have enough ammunition for 2 days. Now, how can you say that we're on the we're gonna have World War III? Because you got a lot of people who are supposedly in the truth and talking about World War III and how there's gonna be all this fighting and all these countries are gonna go at it and everything else. But these main countries don't even have enough bullets to fight a war for more than 2 days. So if that's true, that they don't have enough ammunition to even fight, then that means then that those prophecies that they're still pushing are not true because they don't have any ammunition. So therefore they can't fight. So therefore that World War III scenario that they keep pushing is not even, doesn't even make any sense. That's why I get sick and tired of like people who say they're in the truth, say they're woke, but then they go right back to the breakdowns of the church. Like I said, makes no sense whatsoever. Man, if I got all these guns and no ammunition, then how in the hell am I gonna wage a 7-year war? You see what I'm saying? Makes no sense. But like I said, that's how you can tell who's aligned with the Most High and who's aligned with the Gentiles. Because no matter what new information comes out, he says no matter what information comes out, their answer is always going to be the same, no matter what. Their answer is 2. Okay, well, 1 plus 1, okay, that worked out good. 2 plus 0, okay, that's cool. 4 divided by 2, okay, you're cool. 2 plus 2, what do you say the answer is? 2? Oh, that's not 2, bruh. Yeah, my answer's always 2, no matter what. 3 plus 3, what's the answer? 2. Uh, well, bro, that's not the answer. Yeah, it is, because that's the only answer I got. 2. 100 times 100. 2? We already know why I'm saying 2, because that's the only answer I got. That's all I got. Okay? You see what I'm saying? This is what they've done this whole time. They do that with religion, right? They've done that with who you are as a people. They've done that with your history. They've done that with everything that has to do with us as a people. Their answer is always 2. Know what? Take it or leave it. Exactly, right? The answer is 2, take it or leave it. And if you say it's a different answer, you're the crazy one. If you say that that's not the answer, if you don't agree with my answer of 2 at all times, you're the crazy one. That just shows you how absolutely ass backwards this society is. And then they seem to think that they're going to tell you how to make it to heaven. I'll be cracking up, man, listening to these Christians talking about, hey, if you want to make sure you make it to heaven tonight, Say this prayer with me. It's the equivalent of 2, because that's the only answer we got is 2. So just say this sinner's prayer with me. Yeah, I can't find it in the Bible. It's not in there. But if you say it, you're 100% for sure going to be in heaven. That just shows you how backwards these people are. Any new information, you're the problem. I be cracking up with these people because they be telling you like, oh, well, one of the other guys, oh my gosh. Did you guys heard about, hold on. Lewis was talking, he did a story, this guy named Lewis. He's pretty hilarious. Cause he's always talking about Jesus and sinner's prayers and I'll pray for you. And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's okay. You can keep your prayers. But he was talking about, because I guess in Rio de Janeiro, the Christ Redeemer statue got hit by lightning. Did you guys see that? Now the hand, I guess before, once the hand got hit, I think it messed up the hand. But this time it hit the head, right? So this time it hit the head. So he was like, oh, well, we need to go to the commandments. And he read the one about not having any graven images. Not having any graven images. And how that white Jesus right there is a graven image, right? So I'd be like, okay, hold on. Because that's what these Protestants always do. Oh, you Catholics. It's you Catholics who are, who have these graven images. Not us, not us. It says we don't. It says, but you guys do. It says you guys do know that the only thing that's different between the Catholic Church is they represented Jesus with a baby. You Protestants, all you did was you just grew Jesus up to be an adult. That's it. That is it. Now, you can say, oh, we don't have pictures of Jesus or whatever else. I've been to many Christian bookstores, and I've gone in there many a times. And you might say you don't have a lot of images, but if I go look at the artwork you guys are displaying for pictures, it's white Jesus. If I look at pictures on top of your books, your book covers, white Jesus, right? If I look at your Bibles that you guys push and it's got any kind of pictures in it, white Jesus. And they all look the same. Long hair, white skin, blue eyes, pretty boy, looking like a Spaniard, right? So just because you want to talk all this mess about Catholics, you do exactly the same thing. You just, you put it off other ways. If you have, any kind of shows for Christmas, trust me, you're not gonna have Denzel looking Jesus out there. It's gonna be white Jesus. I said if you're gonna go out there and have any kind of shows or anything for Easter, white Jesus. Got 10 commandments, white Jesus. So you can miss us with all the BS that you're different, because you're not. You do exactly the same thing. But that all goes back to how you've controlled everything. You control the narrative. Just like I did that last video, talking about 9 times out of 10, it's probably even higher than that. If you talk about an expert, he don't look like me. He don't look like us. He looks just like you Gentiles. We're not considered experts. But then it showed you in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 that that's exactly how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have your own education system. We're supposed to have our own because we get downloads from the Most High. But forever, for a very long time, we've been disconnected from our Father. We've been disconnected from our Mother. So therefore, we were then stuck with your breakdowns. We were then stuck with still listening to the way you want to break things down. We were still listening to how you talk about the last days, and how all that's going to go down based off of what you say. Yes, I will put the upload up when I'm done. Okay, I don't delete them. Now, if you can find it, if other entities are hiding information or hiding access to the videos, that's something I can't control. I said because the videos I've been doing says they don't want a lot of people to see, and we all understand that. You know, more people are seeing this truth because what's the alternative? I mean, really, what is the alternative right now? I mean, you're still seeing a lot of these people still pushing Africa, still refusing to look at information about America, still refusing to look at information about um, this land being ours. Why do you think all of a sudden they're getting all these supposed UFOs over here in this part of the world? You know, I said because if you looked at the dove returning, the dove returns over here to North America. The dove can be representative of the Holy Spirit. You know, so all of a sudden we talked about that in the Keys of Enoch book. So now you're seeing all of a sudden all of these UFOs popping up in over these lands. You think that's a coincidence? Yeah, we'll definitely see what big surprises they have today. But we know, like I said, the Most High blessed us with this information from the lost world of Agarti. And definitely talking about the information about the subterranean world and the things that are excuse me, going on down there. And how eventually they're going to spill over up here. Also about the hidden race, the coming race. They're all aware of that. I said they're all aware of that. The other nations are totally aware of this information. They have these books. A lot of military people have these books talking about Admiral Byrd and his information. How he wrote a diary that he was not allowed to share. What other information is there out there that was not allowed to for them to share? We know, except that there's a lot of information, a lot of power. You know, we know that our brethren ran and hid when the Spaniards came. We know a lot of them went underground. They took a lot of gold and treasures with them, and they're keeping them there until it's time, for us to be restored. And now that you're seeing that we're getting close to that time of restoration, Most High had to give us our information back, had to give us our understanding back. But there was no way we could get that from our enemies. because they've been the ones that have gone out of their way to hide all of this information. Remember, they credit our people with not being very intelligent. I'm going to read a little bit here, page 33 out of this book right here. Okay? It says Plato, the great historian of lost Atlantis, also speaks of mysterious passageways in and around the mighty continent, tunnels both broad and narrow, in the interior of the earth. He further mentions a great ruler who sits in the center on the navel of the earth. This is Plato. Plato's aware of this. How come the vast majority of the world has no idea that Plato knew about this? They love Plato so much. He's not crazy when he talks about this, though, right? Okay? So again, he further mentions a great ruler who sits in the center on the navel, okay, of the earth. And he is the interpreter of religion to all mankind. The legend of Atlantis is, in fact, inextricably entwined with that of Agartha. As we shall find when we discuss the early history of South America and the tunnel bridge between the American continent and Africa. The Roman Gaius Plinius Secundus, or Pliny, makes reference to subterranean dwellers who had originally fled underground after the destruction of Atlantis in his Natural History. However, unlike his predecessors, he credits them with very little intelligence. And remember, the predecessors talked about how absolutely, intelligent the people were that lived underground, the subterranean dwellers. But the Greeks here, Pliny and them, said the opposite. Oh, these dudes are stupid. These dudes don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because it's been so important for them to portray themselves as being the bastions of information. The only ones, if you want to know something, you have to go to them. They're the only ones that understand anything. That's what they've been pushing this whole time. So again, however, unlike his predecessors, he credits them with very little intelligence. As since the cataclysm, they have fallen below the level of human civilization. If we can believe what is said, Gaius Plinius does believe, though, that these troglodytes have hidden in their tunnels a great ancient treasure. And it's like, how would they have great treasures if they're so stupid? This is why you must become as a child. You know? Is it not amazing what's going on? As like I said, this is why the Father's taken us and expanded our horizons, expanded our understanding, opened up so many other avenues for us as a people. Because, hey, when we take everything over again, when the Most High blesses us again, it's not all just about religion. There's going to be many other aspects of society that we're going to have to control as well. And let's talk about what all the other races knew about the subterranean people. This is page 31 of this book right here. Among all races of mankind, back to the dawn of time, there existed a tradition concerning the existence of a sacred land or terrestrial paradise, where the highest ideals of humanity were living realities. This concept is found in the most ancient writings and traditions of the peoples of Europe, Asia Minor, China, India, Egypt, and the Americas. This sacred land, it is said, can be known only to the persons who are worthy, pure, and innocent, for which reason it constitutes the central theme of the dreams of childhood. So you got to be cold. The sacred land, all right, it is said, can be known only to persons who are worthy. So I can give it to you so you guys can see it. You have to be worthy to get this information. You have to be worthy to get this understanding. And when it talks about these different lands, don't think about the people that are there now. Don't think about the Chinese that are there today. Don't think about the Europeans that are there today. The Indians that are in, East India there today. Excuse me. Okay? Don't get caught up in all that. Because we know that people have been migrating and people have been going into our lands and taking over our lands. That's why we don't have a history. So that everyone else had their opportunity to steal ours. They've all had their opportunity to steal our information, our lands, and take it for themselves. And all the way till today, they're still acting as if somehow, you know, they're the ones that are in charge. But what's crazy is now, just think of it. You got two realities. The Greeks lied and talked about how, unintelligent the subterranean people were, but the vast majority of the world knew exactly that that wasn't true. But in order to go along with the get along gang with the Greeks and the Romans, they went ahead and went along with it. But eventually, those two realities are going to come together. Psalms 83, exactly. Those two realities are going to come together. And people are going to be totally in shock when they realize that they've been lied to about there being more people on or in this earth. And the ones that are here are more advanced than the ones that they've been listening to. They've been listening to the Gentiles who've lied to them about absolutely everything. And now, like I said, all of a sudden now they're shooting down. You really think they got the technology to shoot down all these supposed UFOs? You don't think maybe that whole thing with the balloon was just a kind of a precursor to what they were expecting to come? you know, they know eventually because oh boy, Bullware wrote a book on it about these people coming from inside the earth. And he was terrified of when they come because he knew there was going to be nothing that we could do to stop them and that they were going to destroy our civilization. It's about that karma, you know? It's about that karma, and it's not about you being able to decide if you want to be a part of this group or not. It's not about that. It's about if you're worthy to get this understanding. Seeing a lot of great comments in the chat. And like I said, when you guys go get a chance to go back through and watch the video, check out the chat, check out the information. So we got a lot of very intelligent brothers and sisters who share a lot of really good information. And you can go back and take a look at the information and then go and check it out yourself. You can go and do the research yourself. That's what we're always trying to encourage you to do. Your churches won't. They're not going to encourage you to do any studying. They're not going to encourage you to learn anything new. They're going to give you the same broken down um, verses, breakdowns, understanding that they've always had. We all have to dig. I've always said that. It's up to everyone to dig. There's going to be many bases in Antarctica. There's going to be a whole lot of things in Antarctica. I thought Florida Marquis was saying that that's the fifth largest continent, and it's like covered with 2 miles of ice. So you just imagine what's under there. Yes, definitely land under the ice. But they got so much technology that I'm sure they can move underneath. They already have bases up there. Talking about caves, and a lot of the most famous people have been born in caves. They always talk about that, being born in caves and things like that. So I'm going to read a little something right here. It says, Archaic England, 1919. We find he has taken the subject a stage further and pointed out that a number of the world's great legendary heroes are supposed to have actually come from the subterranean world. He writes, this is a guy named Harold Bailey's, okay? Practically all the mighty childs of mythology are represented as having sprung from caves or underground. Jupiter or Chi was cave born and worshipped in a cave. Dionysus was said to have been nurtured in a cave. Hermes was born at the mouth of a cave. And it is remarkable that whereas a cave is still shown as the birthplace of Jesus Christ, at Bethlehem, St. Jerome complained that in his day the pagans celebrated the worship of Tammuz or Adonis, i.e., Adon, at that very cave. He said there's just all these connections, and maybe that's just understanding that our people come from the subterranean world, but they portray it as a negative. They portray it as a negative. But all races knew this because we were sharing information with all races. We were teaching the world at that time, and now the Most High is elevating us again to be able to teach again. That's where we're at. You can see that they have no authority and no power to teach anymore. So they can come out and do their news broadcasts, but you always know they're going back to white Jesus at the end. And they always want to talk about the Catholics. But if you go into it, let's go to a Christian bookstore and let me see if you guys don't have any pictures of white Jesus there. Because as soon as I see pictures of white Jesus there being represented on your books and your pictures and your artwork, everything else, then you're no different than the Catholics, which we already know. It's nothing but pushing white supremacy. That's why the people who are supposedly the ones with all the information, all the understanding, the experts, 9 times out of 10 are supposedly white people, and that goes back to all of this. It's not us. It's not supposed black people because we're not allowed to have an opinion. Not any that differs from yours. But it's great hanging out, family. I'm going to let you guys go. It's great spending a little time with everyone. Go back and check out the conversation. Yeah, not much longer. We're going to see what's going to continue to go on with these UFOs and these things getting shot down. You remember, the Gentiles always want to make it sound as if they are in charge. They are in control. So they're going to talk about how easy they're just shooting everything down. If you really want to believe that, go right ahead. There might be a whole lot of UFOs popping up, but I really doubt they're able to just go and shoot them down however they want. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.